We're joined now by Canadian international Janine Beckie. Janine, what did you make of that game last night? The heat, the fact that the game had so many different challenges that were coming in, the intensity in which it was played, and despite not reaching the heights that they would have wanted in terms of a performance, Canada getting the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Canadian team is just continuing to see what playing these big games is like. 33 degrees in Kansas City in the early evening of the summertime is no easy task for anyone, and you can tell on the faces of those guys after the game just how much relief was upon them getting their first win, their first Copa goal. I know that's huge relief for Jonathan David, but look, they said it. They pushed, and at the end of the day, 3 points is what matters in these games.
Hi, Janine. Yeah, amazing what you're saying there. Like, these are the moments for me where it really turns the whole program around. I know you've been through it with the women's team, getting a big result for Canada throughout qualifying against Mexico, the U.S., and now getting a big win in a competition like this. How did you feel it was for you guys, and what did you think the turning point was for the women in your success?
You know, it happened for us a couple of years ago, and I think it's so great that the men's team has now found this time. They're having their time. They're feeling these feelings for the first time. It's elating. It's that moment that you play for as an international. And I think for someone like Jonathan David, who has had so much pressure on him to put the ball in the back of the net, I've had that moment myself. Atiba, I know you've had that moment, and it's a moment that he won't forget and that this team won't forget. But what I really, really liked about the post-game with these players is they're all next task mentality. They know that the job's not done, and now it comes down to this final game, which is not necessarily the position you would love to be in, but at the end of the day, another huge pressure moment for this team, and we'll see how they can respond. But it's a great celebration for this team for sure.
Janine, you mentioned Jonathan David there, and you know, I've spoken to goal scorers in the past who say that when you're going through a patch without scoring, it doesn't really matter how the goal comes. If it just goes in off your knee and you didn't really mean it, that's okay, you've got the goal. But Jonathan David surely will take so much more confidence given the fact that the way he took that goal, the end of a great move, but he was through on goal, took it so calmly, so coolly. It was a wonderful finish.
I think a lot of people will watch that goal and think he's got miles of space in front of him, right? But these are actually some of the most difficult chances to score. And he was composed, he was calm, and the finish was pristine, hitting the far post, literally hitting the far post on that goal. I mean, you guys talked about it. Shaffelburg has been absolutely fantastic coming off the bench. Kev, I think it was you that said he may be an off-the-bench player, and that's a really special role for a player to play. He has been the difference in these last two games. Jonathan David will get credit for that fantastic finish, but you know, the buildup of this goal is just as pristine as the finish, and Shaffelburg has been incredible. I think he has been the key to these two performances. Although not a win against Argentina, an incredible performance that built confidence for this game. A very different game against this Peru team, but like you said, a fantastic finish, a fantastic goal, and to be quite honest, they probably could have had a few more there at the end.
Yeah, he's a player, Jacob Shaffelburg. You guys know I like him. I can see similarities to maybe my game when I was first coming in. I was a left winger. That type of player that was expected just to go past players, continued to run beyond players. I thought his post-match interview was really refreshing. He actually said, I can't play in the pockets, I can't play on the inside. He can, honestly, he can, because you learn it. I had to do it. As your game develops, you get better and better, and you start to learn different roles within the side. But what he's giving the side coming off the bench if there's freedom like last night, because they tried to condense the play, didn't they, Peru? They were trying to play very narrow. He is the perfect guy to come off the bench. I said it last night. I mean, TFC have done some bad business in the last couple of years. That's one of the worst bit of businesses I see because of what he gives you. He can play multiple positions. He's now gone away. Sometimes when you move, you establish yourself. That's what I do think as well. He's established himself now, and I feel as though it's maybe his time now. He might be a sub, Stevie. That's the thing, and it's a killer for him to maybe admit to it. It's a killer maybe when the coach tells it him. But honestly, I feel as though, Stevie, he's a player that's going to get better and better. Maybe even playing that role, potentially beyond it, getting more game time to start.
Yeah, I think it's something that we sort of go towards, talking about what a player can't do, talking about Jacob Shaffelburg, learning how to play in the pocket and different things like this. What he does do is stretch a defence. What he does do is be very direct, down the wing, get crosses into the box, and he's really, really good at it, really effective at it. So I hope he doesn't, try and change his game too much, because his strength is so significant for Canada, especially coming off the bench, especially when a team might be sitting back in a lower block, or they've got 10 men, there's space there for him to run in behind. He's got to keep the attributes, doesn't he, Atiba, I think, because it's such a weapon for Canada through this tournament and other ones to come.
Yeah, he gives so much energy to the team, what he brings to the team. Sometimes the moments aren't good for the team. They don't feel very comfortable, and you need to kind of get the ball in behind and hit that space, and he's always running into the space. What I love about him is that he knows what his weak points are. So that's amazing for a player, to know that they're going to have to just develop that and work hard on that. And yeah, it seems like a really good guy, good kid, and he just wants to learn and get better, which was really good to see.
Last one, Janine. You've prepared for major tournaments in the past, of course, World Cups, Olympics, as you are right now. Canada is in Copa America to try and go as far as possible, but also they're going through these moments to try and peak in 2026, where the World Cup is on home soil. What will a game like last night, a game like Thursday night in Atlanta, do for this group of players as they head towards the World Cup on home soil in 26?
I mean, they'll have felt it in the Qatar 2022 World Cup. It just gives them that experience that every game is a different challenge. Every game poses a different threat. And there are some things about games at this time of the year that you just can't control, which is the weather. And that same thing they'll experience in 2026. Look, these guys have had to battle. That was one of the most physical games from a heat perspective, and literally physically, as you see there, that I've watched. And I think they handled themselves brilliantly. They could have lost their heads when that red card wasn't given on Alistair Johnson, but they didn't. They continued to press, they continued to play, and they got their justice for that second red card. Like I said, I think they'll walk away from this game knowing that they probably could have put a few more goals in the back of the net, really stacked that goal differential. But these are the things that you learn going through these major tournaments, and they're huge lessons that this team will take into 2026. There's no doubt for me that this team can make a push, at least to the quarterfinal, if not beyond here.